How do you respond when your wife says yes to her ex and waits for you to explode? What happens when you do nothing loud and everything lawful until the moment the papers land? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. My name is Wakefield Orr, and I learned to keep my voice low when the room wanted me loud. I fix computers for a living, so I notice small things first. The way two mugs sit on opposite sides of the counter. The way a drawer locks a half second after my step on the stair. I try to keep the house steady for our daughter, Sophie. I tell myself routine is a rope you hold when waters rise. My wife, Lena, calls it control. I call it care. Friends say I worry too much. I say worry is just planning with manners. At work, I keep my focus. I answer tickets, close windows, minimize tabs when footsteps pass. I mark dates on a planner, not because I expect disaster, but because time is easier to carry when it is written down. Nights, I hear the hallway floor complain under careful feet. Sometimes the guest bed looks tired in the morning. I do not rush. I list times. I notice ride shares idling a little too long near our driveway. I notice a neighbor glance, then pretend not to. I let the phone ring when it shows private. I breathe. A door latch clicks upstairs. I wake before the alarm and watch light climb the kitchen tiles. Two mugs sit far apart on the counter like strangers in a waiting room. I line up a spoon with the edge of a saucer because straight lines calm me. I pour tea and listen to the refrigerator hum. I tell myself this house can be steady if I move slowly. Sophie pads in and leans on my sleeve. She asks if pancakes can be a school day treat. I say they can, if we are on time. I pour batter and watch small bubbles rise and pop. Lena walks in and checks her phone before she looks at us. She says she will be late tonight because of a friend's birthday. I say I heard about the party. She says it will be chill. I say I hope it is safe. She calls me careful, like it is a joke we both know. I place the pancake on Sophie's plate and change the subject to a spelling test. The two mugs stay on opposite counters. It is not an argument, it is a map. I carry laundry upstairs and step on the creak in the stairwell floor. The sound is small but sharp, like a pin on wood. The bedroom door stands open by a hand's width. I hear a hushed voice in the hall, then a pause, then the whisper stops. I set the basket down on the landing and fold a towel with slow edges. I look through the gap and see the desk drawer slide in and lock. I do not push the door. I do not ask. I note the time on my watch and fold another towel. When I go back down, I wipe the counter, not because it needs it, but because routine is a handle. I take the trash out to the driveway and notice a rideshare pull up 2 houses down, then idle, then roll forward to our curb as if checking an address. The driver glances at the house number and then at the window. He does not lower the window or wave. He drives on. Our neighbor, Mr. Petrenko, leans over his hedge like he is looking at the sky. He is not looking at the sky. He sees me and nods once, and then pretends he did not see the car. I tie the bag and put a new liner in the bin. I tell myself people watch lives through small windows. They use guesses to fill the dark parts. Sophie and I walk to the park after school. She climbs the low wall and pretends it is a mountain. She tells me a classmate got a glitter star for good listening. She asks if adults can get glitter stars. I say adults get other signs. She asks what kind. I say adults get quiet signs like calm nights, shared plans, and doors left open. She thinks about it, then asks why Mom uses the guest bed sometimes. I say some nights are loud with work or late with friends. I say we let people sleep where they rest best. She nods, but her mouth is not sure. I stop myself from giving more words than she needs. Words cannot glue a crack that is already running. I push her on the swing. I count. She laughs. The air smells like cut grass and dust. At home, I wipe crumbs into my palm and notice the wall planner. There is a red circle around a date 3 weeks away. There is no label, only the circle. A small yellow sticky near the bottom edge reads simply, "Pick up." It does not say what to pick up. I clean my hands and breathe through my nose. I open my laptop and check the family calendar. I add a private event because memory is softer than ink. I write downtown 11:10 a.m. and set one reminder to silent. I do not add a location. I do not add details. I close the laptop when the hallway floor complains. I do not give anyone a show. After dinner, I load the dishwasher. Lena stands at the island scrolling with a finger that moves fast when she is bored. She says she might sleep in the guest room because of the early party prep. I say I will keep the hallway light low. She says that is controlling again. I say low light saves sleep. She smiles like I told a joke. She says I worry too much. I say worry is just planning with manners. Sophie brings her homework to the table. I help with a page on telling time. She writes 11:10 with careful hands. I feel heat crawl up my neck for no reason I can name. I drink water and say her numbers look neat. Later, when the house is almost quiet, I go to the landing and look toward the guest room. The bedspread is smoothed well, but the pillow has a faint crease like a head was there and left. On the bedroom desk, a clean clipboard lies with a single word at the top. Statement. No other words follow, only the title and a blank field. A thin binder sits on the shelf labeled Utilities. It looks thicker than bills. I touch nothing. I move nothing. I only count. I count seconds between hallway sounds. I count breaths between footsteps. I count the beats between a phone lighting up as private and the screen going dark. I put Sophie's plush fox back on the corner of her bed and check her window lock. I walk by the wall planner and feel the red circle watch me. It grows late. I close the curtains and turn off the kitchen light. The counter holds 2 mugs again, now clean. They are still far apart. I leave them where they are. I go to the stairwell and stand there without moving, the way a guard stands at a museum painting. On the desk, the laptop sleeps with its lid closed. A thin piece of tape holds a small USB under a folder labeled Taxes. The tape is neat, the edges are square. The room smells faintly of printer toner even though the machine is off. I do not open drawers, I do not break tape. I do not wake anything, I only notice and breathe. Night thins around the edges. Air moves under doors like a slow river. My phone buzzes once with a hidden number. I let it go. I tell myself steady is not the same as weak. Steady is a path. I wash my hands for no reason but the need to do something clean. Upstairs, a hinge sighs. A screen lights the hallway faint blue, and then the light fades. The house takes one long breath with me. The floor gives a small note. I arrive early at the office and sit at my desk before the first joke lands in the open-plan air. The lights hum, screens glow. Someone in sales laughs too loud at something on his phone. I plug in my headset and start on tickets. Password reset. Printer stall. A blue screen that needs a gentle push toward life. I stay in my lane and make small things work again. A shadow falls over my screen. A coworker turns her phone down as I look up. She asks if everything is all right at home. I say work is work and home is home. She nods and turns her phone face down again. Her eyes flick to my shoulder, then away, like she wants to carry a story but has nowhere to put it. A notification pings on my monitor with my name tagged under a photo. I do not click. I open Device Manager instead. My manager, Arena, leans on the partition and asks for a quick word when I have a moment. I say, now is fine. In the small HR room, the air smells like dry carpet and old coffee. She says there have been online mentions with my name. She says we are a company and we try to keep focus. I say I will keep work steady. I say I do not discuss private matters here. She says she appreciates that. She asks if I need time off. I say no. She says her door is open. None of it is cruel. It is just a note written in the margin of a long day. At lunch, I walk to the supermarket for bread and apples. I stand in the checkout line and watch a screen at the register run ads on a loop. Over my shoulder, someone whispers and laughs into a phone. The laugh is the kind friends use when they think they are safe. I pick the shortest line and look at my shoes. My phone confirms a calendar block titled Meeting Personal 3:45 p.m. The words look plain and honest. I leave them there. I turn the phone face down on the basket handle and let the screen dim. Near the exit, a small board lists free community classes. One says, Know Your Rights. I do not tear off a tab. I memorize the time and then let it go. Back at my desk, I set a small yellow sticky under my monitor. It says, Bring Forms in my handwriting. It faces me, not the room. I open a spreadsheet with initials and dates. Columns are clean, cells line up. I type slowly, like I am pushing pins into a map. When footsteps pass, I minimize the window. I open a help article on safe browsing. I click through 2 pages and then close it. I do not need it. I need quiet and proof that I can still choose the rhythm of my own hands. By late afternoon, the open plan noise thins to a dull calm. I hear the low whir of a printer behind the glass panel. Paper slides. I stand and go to pick up a single page I sent earlier as a test. The tray holds nothing but a lone blank sheet that has come through clean. I lift it gently and feel the warmth fading from it. Blank is not empty. Blank is a space saved for something that is not ready to be seen. I place the page in a folder on my desk. The folder has no label. It does not need one. My calendar reminder for meeting personal blinks. I tap dismiss and put on my jacket. On the walk back from a short talk with someone in a calm office, my phone buzzes with a group chat ping. The screen shows a circle with Dasha's face and a bar full of small dots. Her story thumbnail shows Lena at a bar from the angle of raised arms. I do not open it. I I slide the notification to the side until it fades like a light behind a curtain. A coworker steps into the elevator with me and asks if I saw the rooftop video. I say I did not have time for videos today. He says it is wild. He says people are talking. He says he thinks maybe some jokes go too far. I say I hope everyone stays kind. He says kindness is boring. I say boring wins. The doors open. He stares at my shoes again and then walks the other way. After work, I stop at the pharmacy for toothpaste. The queue is slow. A teenager in front of me watches a clip with sound off. I see Lena's hair in the small square. I see a ring pop pressed like sugar against a laugh. The caption calls me by name and uses a word that does not live in our house. The teenager looks up to see if I react. I study the shelves of travel-size shampoo and compare nothing to nothing. My phone lights with an unknown number. It pulses without sound. I let it die. The store door opens and the bell gives a tired ring. I hold my basket and breathe. Evening brings the quiet of a house that wants to be simple. Irina emails a reminder about the quarterly audit. I mark it and move on. I sit at the kitchen table and set 2 binders at my feet, one labeled home, one labeled bank. I do not open them yet. I write today's date on a small USB in plain block letters and place it near my laptop. I am not hiding it. I am not waving it in the air. It is just there, like a clean plate on a counter. I open a browser and glance at tabs for storage options, delivery tracking, notary near me. I do not fill forms. I only learn where doors are when I may need doors. Sophie brings her drawing of a tree with a ladder. She says ladders help you reach fruit that is not near you yet. I say that is true. She asks if we can go to the park after dinner tomorrow. I say we can. She asks if Mom will come. I say I do not know yet. She nods like she expected that answer. She asks if our house has rules like school. I say yes, and one rule is that people talk with care. She says she will try. She puts a star sticker on the top corner of her drawing. She says stars make people look up. When the house softens into night, I sit at my desk and hold the blank printed page between my hands. I slide it into a sleeve in a plain folder. I keep the folder in the drawer that does not lock. I put on headphones and make one short call with my voice low and even. I talk about schedules and how people can be safe with time. I end the call and take the headphones off. I do not feel triumphant. I do not feel broken. I feel like a man who set a glass down without spilling. On the wall planner, the red circle looks brighter in lamplight. On my screen, a clean desktop tree waits with folders called Archive A and Archive B. They are empty. They will not be empty forever. They are not ready today. Before bed, I wipe the table in slow circles. The phone buzzes once with a new group tag. I do not look. I set a calendar reminder for the morning. Not a big thing, just a small tap on the shoulder. It says, meeting, personal, 3:45 p.m. again, because steady beats win long races. I place 2 mugs near the sink to dry. I leave them far apart. The kitchen light clicks off. The rooftop bar sits high above the traffic and pretends to be the sky. I arrive because an invitation with Sophie's name was mentioned, then revised, then framed as a community thing where everyone knows everyone. I take a place near the railing where wind takes the smell of sweet drinks and puts it somewhere else. The city throws light at the clouds, and the clouds throw it back. Laughter collects into small circles the way rain gathers in shallow bowls. Dasha lifts her phone and talks to it like a friend. She says the view makes people honest. I watch the elevator open and spill more bodies onto the deck. I see Lena in a bright dress that catches light like a net. I keep my hands still. I greet 2 people who used to come to our house for board games. They greet me like a neighbor you nod to at a stop sign. They do not ask about Sophie. They ask about the elevator speed. I say it was normal. Words do not hurt when they are small. Music slides under the voices. Maksym steps into the center with a grin that wants a camera more than a person. He holds a ring pop in one hand like a joke that can be waved away if it turns heavy. Dasha makes space with her elbows and tells everyone to turn. Lena places a hand on her heart like someone in a play. Maksym kneels. The crowd cheers because people like lines that are easy to repeat. He says something about second chances. I hear the shape of it without hearing the words. Lena says yes. Phones rise. A cheer breaks like glass and falls back in pieces. Someone shouts my name and tells me to smile for the memories. I look at the sky where the wind is and let the wind speak for me. The toast begins. A man with a loud laugh says love is brave and old stories are chains. He says some men are too careful and control grows mold. People laugh at mold. Dasha points her camera at me to catch a reaction. I hold the rail and let my knuckles be the story. I think of Sophie asking about glitter stars. I think of the guest bed with the faint pillow crease. My phone buzzes in my pocket with a group tag. I do not take it out. I put on my headphones and start a short call on the far side of the patio where the air moves. I use a quiet voice and simple words about schedules and safety. I listen more than I speak. I end the call and take the headphones off when the crowd's noise dips for a new song. I do not explain myself to anyone here. When I turn, I find myself in the line for the bar, not for drinks, but for space that looks like purpose. Someone in the line asks if I am okay. I say I am here, and I am fine. They nod and turn their attention to a selfie with the skyline. I move to the edge near a planter where a small light flickers under glass. In the reflection on the glass, I see Dasha recording my back, then losing interest when I do not give her a shake. I breathe like I am counting steps on a long bridge. Maksym moves from circle to circle, collecting congratulations the way a jacket collects lint. He reaches me and says it is all in good fun. He says we are modern and adults. He says I should relax my shoulders. I say the view is nice. He laughs and says that is a safe answer. I say safe answers keep people from falling. He moves on. I step toward the elevator and feel the floor tilt a little with the weight of people who want to be near a moment that will fit on a screen. The doors open and I ride down with two women who are discussing the ring pop, whether it means anything, whether meaning is outdated now. I think meaning is never outdated. It only becomes quiet when people stop listening. In the co-working lobby downstairs, Maksym appears again by chance or by plan. He slaps a stranger's palm and calls himself lucky. A security guard glances at me because my face says nothing, and he is trained to notice faces that say nothing. I nod to him and step outside. The night air holds a small chill that clears the leftover sugar smell from my head. I walk to the metro and tap in. On the platform, a man watches a clip and plays it back 3 times. The clip has loud laughter with no sound and captions that use my name like a loose thread. I stare at the train map above the seats and count stops like beads. On the train, I sit with my hands folded on my knees. Across from me, a woman shakes her head at her phone and then looks up at me as if I am part of the film. I look at the ad for flu shots and read the words out of order until they lose meaning. I arrive at my stop and walk up into the night, which is calmer away from the bright deck. In our driveway, the air smells like damp dirt and cool metal. A car rolls slowly down the street and pauses at our curb. It does not stop. It drifts on. Mr. Petrenko waters his plants even though it is late. He says the plants get hot and need a drink. I say the night is kind to leaves. He nods like I said something wise and then goes back to his hose. Inside, the kitchen is clean the way empty rooms are clean. 2 mugs rest on the drying mat like 2 people who do not talk. I check the wall planner. The red circle holds firm. My phone vibrates with a new notification that says, "File uploaded successfully." It is a small cloud icon. It means a neat square of data reached its shelf. I let the screen go dark. I close the curtains and feel the pull of the fabric like a deep sigh. I set my laptop on the desk and open a window, then close it at once when footsteps pass in the hall. I open my clean desktop tree and place a small blank note where a name will go later. I do not rush. I put the laptop to sleep. In the stairwell, the old step gives its small complaint. I stand still until the house quiets around me. My phone shows a calendar ping for tomorrow with the words, "Meeting personal." I dismiss it with my thumb and set the phone face down like a closed eye. I breathe and let the breath finish. The night holds. The family restaurant has a long table that looks like a road through a noisy town. We are there for a birthday because traditions insist even when people do not. The table carries plates and elbows and phones like small billboards. I choose a seat near the end where Sophie can lean on my arm and still see the cake when it comes. Lena arrives with Helena and Dasha. There is the smell of grilling onions and a song about remembering to dance. Helena kisses Sophie and then kisses the air near my cheek. She says families must be flexible. I say families must be kind. She laughs like kindness is an old word. When the waiter takes orders, Lena makes a show of choosing the bold option. Dasha tells the corner of the table that bold choices are beautiful. She says tests of courage separate the old from the future. She does not look at me when she says this. Ole sits on the other side of Sophie and asks how school is, and Sophie shows him the tree with the ladder. He says ladders are smart. She asks if a ladder can be a rule. He says maybe. He looks at me without moving his head. I nod. We eat bread that falls into crumbs like small drifting islands. When the cake arrives, the lights drop. Everyone sings and looks happy, because birthdays are a script people know well. In the dim, Dasha lifts her phone and points it at Lena and me at the same time. She frames us both like a split screen. She says something quiet that makes Lena smirk. In the light of the candles, Lena's eyes shine the way glass shines, hard and beautiful. A child at another table claps off the beat and does not care. The song ends, the lights come back, and laughter occupies old space again. The waiter asks who wants coffee. I ask for tea because tea steadies my hands. Helena begins a speech that is not a toast but wants to be one. She says people deserve joy and that holding someone back is a fearful act. She says her daughter is brave. She does not say my name, but my name is in the air like a draft under a door. She says families adjust to the times, or the times adjust families. Ole coughs into his napkin and asks Sophie about her star sticker. Dasha asks the waiter for extra plates and uses that as a reason to stand. She tells Lena to pose with the slice and pretend to feed it to the camera. She calls this playful. I focus on cutting Sophie's piece into squares that will not slide off her fork. I excuse myself to the hallway by the restrooms because the hallway is quiet and the light is fluorescent and honest. I take my phone out and check the family calendar. The red circle remains on the day that has not arrived yet. I add a tiny reminder that says, pick up forms, then change my mind and delete it. I set my phone to vibrate only. I look at myself in the mirror and see a man who could pass for someone minding his own business. I wash my hands and return to the long road of the table. Sophie asks if rings that are candy can still count as promises. I say some promises melt under bright lights. She asks if rings that are not candy can still be jokes. I say some jokes hurt even when people laugh. She nods the way children nod when they file something they will open later. Dasha says children are resilient and then takes a photo of the crumbs. Helena says I should not bring the child into adult matters. I say I did not. She says my face brings the child in. I say I will try a new face. She does not smile. Lena puts a hand on Sophie's shoulder for 1 second and then picks up her phone again. When we get home, the house is cool and tidy. The guest bed is smoothed, but the sheet edge is turned down as if a hand measured it. In the bedroom, a thin binder labeled Utilities sits straighter than it did yesterday. The clip of the drawer gives a small sound as if it was tested and approved. On the wall planner, the red circle is joined by a small dot on the week before it. The dot is blue, not red. The dot has no words. I write a short line in a message thread titled Follow Up, and I keep it neutral. It says I saw what I needed to see. It says timing matters. It says thank you for your time. I read the line twice and press send. I put my phone face down. From the landing, I hear the faint hum of a shredder in another room. It runs for 3 seconds and stops. It runs for 2 more and stops. It is the kind of sound a person makes when they are not sure if a thing matters enough to destroy. I do not open any door. I stand still until the sound is memory. Downstairs, I place 3 binders, home, auto, bank, on a shelf at eye level. The shelf is dusted. The binders line up like train cars that know their route. I take a pen and write the word list on a blank notepad, and then put the pen down without writing the list. The next morning I take Sophie to the park early. Dew weighs the grass down and makes it shine. She asks if homes can have rules like school. I say yes, and a rule we will follow is gentle voices and on-time pickups. She asks if on-time pickups mean love. I say on-time pickups mean care, and care is one way love stands up. She nods and swings her legs. I count pushes and watch the sun draw the shadow of the swing set longer. I check my phone for a calendar ping and dismiss it. The phone vibrates once with a number marked private. I let it pass. I do not record this call. I record the quiet in my head. Later, a pharmacy queue waits under soft radio music. People speak in half voices. I stand with a small bottle of soap and hold a receipt that curls like a ribbon. My phone screen lights with a message from a contact that is only an emoji. The message says the rooftop clip is now on a bigger page. It offers a link I do not touch. I slide the message away and look at the bins of vitamins. A little boy begs for candy at the counter and his mother says later, and the boy believes later is real. I remember that I also believed later was real. I still do, but it is a different later now. At home that evening, I set the table with plates and take 2 mugs down from the shelf. I put them on opposite ends of the counter. I place a small USB on the desk and label it with today's date. I open a spreadsheet with initials and dates and add 1 more line with a description that would make sense to no one but me. I close the file when footsteps sound in the hall. I open a news site and scroll. I close the news site and look out the window instead. The sky does not have an opinion. It holds its color and waits for night. I tell Lena I will handle matters properly. I do not say more. I keep my voice level and slow. She laughs without humor and says I should try living. I say I am living. She says control is not life. I say care is not control. She rolls her eyes and leaves the kitchen. I hear a door open and close. The house settles. I arrive at the office before most people and sit where the morning hum is thin. The open-plan floor has its own weather. It starts cool and bright and then warms with talk. I set my bag down and line up my mouse with the edge of the pad. I open a ticket queue and fix what can be fixed by steady hands. A password unlocks. A printer stops eating paper. A browser behaves. I do my job because it is a promise I can keep. A notification slides across my screen with a link to a clip from the rooftop. I do not click. I open a knowledge base article about safe passwords and let the link fade away. I feel my shoulders lower by 1 inch. I write today's date on a small USB and place it where the light from the window finds it. The office wakes. A sales rep passes and asks if I am trending. He grins like he is handing me candy that is already melting. I say I am working. He says I am calm for a man in a video. I say calm is a choice that fits in any pocket. He laughs and moves on. A coworker at the next desk starts to ask about the party, then asks about a driver update instead. I am grateful for the detour. My manager sends a note about a system audit and asks if I can join a short meeting later. I send a yes. The yes is clean and true. At a break, I step to the balcony that looks at a line of office towers. Glass reflects glass. The horizon is a set of mirrors pretending to be sky. My phone buzzes with a number marked private. I let it ring out and become a missed call with no name. I check my calendar and see downtown 4:05 p.m. The words have no address, no notes. They are just a signal to a careful man. In the corner of the screen, a recurring event titled Meeting Personal shows up with a thin dot on Thursdays. I close the calendar and return to my desk. By lunch, the floor noise swells. The same laugh from the rooftop appears in a message from Dasha that I do not open. I walk to the park near the office and sit on a bench in a patch of shade. Children play on the other side. A dog drags a man toward a fountain, and the man pretends he is in charge. I put on headphones and make a call in a voice that would not scare a sleeping baby. I talk about schedules and the polite shape of time. I listen to questions and answer with yes, no, or I understand. I do not raise my voice. I do not push. I do not broadcast. I close the call and take off the headphones. Wind moves leaves like quiet hands. I text Lena and say I will handle matters properly. I say this once and only once. She replies with a string of words that frame me as a man who cannot feel. I read the words and set the phone down on the bench. A child nearby announces he can fly from the low bar to the high bar. He cannot, but he tries. He drops, stands, and tries again. The second time he swings to the high bar and hangs there smiling at his hands. I tell myself that work is showing up, counting, trying again, and not making a scene about gravity. The co-working space lobby is a short walk from the park. I pass through the glass doors and see Maksym holding a coffee and talking to a camera, as if the air owes him an audience. He does not see me, but a woman next to him does. She looks at me, then at him, and then at the floor. I see a bulletin board with cards for business services. I take none. I only read and keep moving. I use a public desk for 5 minutes to send a clean email to my manager. Audit steps listed, timelines noted, no drama. A cloud icon on my laptop says, "File uploaded successfully." I note the time and close the lid. At the pharmacy, the queue is slow again. People wait, and waiting makes everyone equal for a minute. A clip of the rooftop plays on a phone 2 places ahead. The sound is off, and the captions are bold. My name slides across the screen like a label on a jar. I look at a shelf of vitamin bottles and read the labels out of order until they are just shapes. My phone lights with a message from a contact named with a single emoji. It says the clip is now on a larger page. It offers a link. I dismiss the screen and watch the scanner light cross over someone else's items. On the metro ride home, the car sways and lights flicker. A teen leans on a pole and watches a different video, one with pets and tricks and simple wins. I close my eyes for 2 stops and count to 20 between them. I open my eyes to a map and mark where I am with a fingertip on cool plastic. The train surfaces for a moment to cross a bridge. The river holds the sky without asking permission. At home, I move with slow hands. I straighten the mail stack and flip it face down. I place 3 binders, home, auto, bank, on the table and dust the covers with a clean cloth. I do not open them. I set 2 mugs on opposite ends of the counter like 2 steady buoys. I open my laptop and review a spreadsheet with initials and dates. The lines mean nothing to anyone but me. They are mile markers on a road I walk alone. I add a quiet note to a message thread titled Follow Up, and thank someone for a call earlier that was short and kind. Sophie brings me a drawing of a house with a tall fence. She says fences keep dogs safe from cars. I say fences keep gardens safe from feet that forget where to step. She asks if our house has a garden. I say gardens can be inside people too. She thinks and nods. She asks if we will still go to the park tomorrow. I say yes. She asks if Mom will come. I say I do not know. She accepts that answer with the patience of a child who already knows its shape. Lena passes through the kitchen and drops a bag on the island with a soft thud. She says weekends should be free. She says rules crush joy. I say safety is not a cage. I say respect is how rooms stay warm. She rolls her eyes and taps out a message to someone whose name I do not need to know. I pick up the dish towel and wipe a clean counter because wiping calms my hands. She laughs without humor and says I should get out more. I say I will. At night, the printer in the study briefly wakes and spits a single blank page. I had sent a test earlier to see if the driver would behave. The blank page slides out like a quiet card. I hold it and feel the warmth leave it. I place it in a plain folder that has no label. I put on headphones and make one more call with a river voice. I talk about tomorrow, a time window, a building where people take their lives seriously. I end the call and take the headphones off. The wall planner watches me with its red circle. My phone shows a small alarm set for 8:20 a.m. and labeled paper drop. I do not need the alarm tomorrow, but I leave it because leaving it reminds me I am not running, I am walking. The next morning, I dress in quiet clothes that fit into any room. On my desk, a clean desktop tree labeled Archive A and Archive B waits for a future shape. I close the laptop and lock the door behind me. The air is cool and kind. I pass Mr. Petrenko in his yard, and he says plants slept well. I say mornings help. He nods like he is signing a small contract. I get in the car and face the street, not the house. The road opens. The office tower lobby is not ours. It belongs to everyone who needs a neutral floor. The ceiling is tall and the air is cool. People pass with folders and phones and shoes that know marble. I arrive early and stand near a planter that holds a tree that would not live outside. I hold nothing in my hands. I do not check my phone. I feel the minutes like small, smooth stones in a pocket. The security desk looks like a stage for quiet questions. A guard nods at me because I am early and do not fidget. I nod back because I am myself. Lena arrives with Maksym and Dasha. The elevator doors open and they spill out in a triangle of noise and smiles. Dasha lifts her phone and frames the lobby like a set. Maksym straightens his jacket with 2 fingers, the way men do when they expect to be watched. Lena walks 2 steps ahead like a person who has trained the world to turn toward her. She sees me and gives a small half-smile that says she is ready for a scene. I am not a scene. I am a man in a lobby. A neutral voice addresses Lena by her full name. The voice belongs to a person whose job is to make exchanges happen under bright lights and high ceilings. The person confirms her identity with simple questions. Dasha lowers her phone without thinking. Maksym asks what this is, not with a shout, but with the tone of a person who expects doors to open because he is near them. The envelope changes hands. The person states the nature of the documents in a dry phrase. It is not drama, it is a delivery. The words divorce petition and temporary orders live inside that phrase like stones underwater. The lobby listens, the guard observes. The tree in the planter keeps being a tree. Lena's smile leaves her face like a light that discovers a switch it did not know. She says this is a joke. The neutral person says this is not a joke. Maksym says the papers are a stunt. The neutral person says the papers are service. Dasha points her phone again, but the shot is wrong now. It is a shot of a hand holding an envelope and a face learning the shape of consequences. She lowers the phone. I do not step closer. I do not step away. I thank the building guard for holding the door for a woman who entered just now with a briefcase. The guard says people forget doors. I say some people remember, and we nod like 2 men watching rain keep its promise to fall. My phone buzzes with messages I do not open. One is from Noah that says only done. Another has Helena's name at the start of a preview, and her words are a storm that does not need to fall on me to be wet. Ole does not text. The silence is a word I can read. In my pocket, my hand is empty. It closes on air and opens again. I think of Sophie at school. I think of pickup times and the way on time looks like love to a child who cannot drive. The neutral person states, for the lobby and for the air, that the documents include temporary possession and access orders, and that the next steps are clear on the first page. The phrase custody schedule planning lives beside temporary. The lobby does not gasp, it is a lobby, but it holds the sound of shoes that slow down when people pass. Lena stares at the envelope like it bit her. Maksym asks if we can go somewhere private, and the person says, this is fine. Dasha rubs her thumb over the edge of her phone and does not find the right filter for the moment. I do not speak to Lena in this lobby. I do not ask for understanding. I do not explain. I nod once to the neutral person. The nod is not gratitude and not triumph. It is recognition that a process can stand up without a shout. I turn to the guard and say, "Thank you for the calm." He says the morning has been quiet and will stay that way if we let it. I say quiet helps. He smiles with half his mouth the way men in uniforms do when they are pleased that rules worked. Dasha lifts her phone again and captures my back as I step toward the exit. The revolving door turns at a steady speed and does not rush for anyone. On the other side, the city carries noises like trays. A bus pulls up and opens its mouth. People go in and out. The air is bright and not kind, not unkind, simply here. My phone vibrates with 2 calls I do not take. I walk to the edge of the plaza and stand where the pavement meets the street. I exhale and feel my ribs adjust to a new shape. Behind me, footsteps choose a speed. I do not turn. I look at the reflection in the window of a coffee shop. 3 figures in the lobby gather into a small knot. The envelope remains in Lena's hand. Maksym uses his free hand to talk to air. Dasha presses her phone to her chest. The guard speaks into a radio with a voice that says, "This is nothing. This is normal. This is just a Tuesday with shoes and paper and air." I think of the kitchen at home with 2 mugs far apart. I think of the guest bed that looks less tired when no one lies to it. I think of the swing at the park and the rule about gentle voices and on-time pickups. I think of the small USB with today's date and the clean desktop tree with folders that will have names in time. I think of the river under the bridge and the way it holds the sky without permission. I finally put my hand on the door of the coffee shop and push. The bell above the door rings like a small promise. I step inside because stepping inside is what you do after standing outside. I buy nothing. I stand by the window and let the glass give me a picture that is true enough for today. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching.